Alright, so in the last video we created the nav bar and the side navigation. Now we're going to do the stats on the dashboard, and we're going to start off by just putting static numbers, and then we'll do the little jQuery magic to make the numbers go from 0 to whatever the number is. Okay, so let's go under the nav, and I'm just going to put a comment here, and we'll say section stats. Okay, so just like with all of our projects, we're going to do a section with the class of section, and then a custom class of section-stats, and we also want to center everything. Okay, so in here we're going to do a row, use the grid system. We're going to do actually different sizes for our different columns for each size. So for a small, we want full width, so S12. For medium-sized screens, we want 6, so we want it to be basically split in half. And then on large screens, we're going to do 3. Okay, so 3 across. So make sure you get that. And then what we'll do is put in our card panel for the first one. Okay, so this is going to be for the posts. It's going to have a class of blue. We're going to lighten by 1. We're going to have some white text and make sure that it's center. Alright, and then inside here we're going to have an icon. So we're going to do material icons, and the icon name is insert underscore emoticon. Okay, that'll give us the little what is it? I think it's a little pencil, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, this is the monthly visitors, so it's like the little face. Alright, so under the icon we'll do an H5, and we're going to do monthly visitors. And then we want an H3, and this is going to have a class of count. Okay, and we're going to use that in the jQuery script that we're going to write. And for the count, we're going to say 28,300. Okay, under that we're going to have our progress bar, so it's going to be a div with the class of progress, if you remember those. And it's going to be gray, and then we're going to do lighten 1. Okay, and then inside here it's going to be a determinant progress bar, so it's not going to be the animated one. So we want to give it the class of determinant. Spell that right? Determinant, and then it's going to be white. Okay, and then for the we need to give it a style with the width. That's how we can show how much it's filled. So I'm going to say the width will be 40%. What did I do here? Style equals, and it should be width colon 40%, like that. Alright, so let's save that, and it should look like this. Okay. Now what we're going to do is the blog posts. So what I'll do is copy the column, so this div here, we're going to grab that, and let's go ahead and paste in, let's do, that's 2, 3, and 4. So if I save that, it'll be 4 across. Okay. And then once we get to medium screens, you'll see it'll be 2 across, and then on small screens 1. So now let's change up these cards. We're going to go to the second one, which is going to be the blog posts. So I'm going to change the color from blue. I'm going to change it to, actually it's not going to have a color because it's going to be white. So we want to get rid of these 3 classes. So it's just card panel and center. And then the icon is going to be mode underscore edit. That'll give us that pencil icon. Okay, and then for the text here, we're going to say blog posts. And then for the count, we're going to do 105. Okay, for the progress bar, let's do 20%. Okay, except I'm going to change the, let's see, lighten, right here, the class where a determinant is, we're going to change it from white to blue because now it's on a white background. but I'm going to lighten it by 1, like that. All right, so if I save that, it should look like that. So the next one is going to be the comments, and this one's going to be blue, so we can leave all those styles and stuff. We just want to change the content. The actual comment is going to be mode underscore comment, and then the text, we'll change that to comments. Let's change the number to 1200, and then we'll leave the width at 40%. That's fine. So if I save that, there we go. Now the last one is going to be the users, and that's going to be white like this one. So what I'm going to do is actually copy the blog post right here, the blog post column, and just replace this one, so I don't have to retype all the color classes and stuff. And then for the icon, that's going to be supervisor account. Okay, supervisor underscore account. Some weird names for these icons. And then users, and the number of users will be 350. And for the progress bar, let's say 10%. So we'll save, and there we go. All right, so let's see. One thing I want to do is make the icons bigger. So for each material icons class, I'm just going to add medium, the medium class. That'll make them a little bigger. And save, and there we go. So that looks pretty good. All right, so now what we're going to do is the counter effect. Now we're going to be using jQuery for this, and a lot of you guys that know me, that follow my YouTube channel and other courses, know that I'm not usually a fan of jQuery, but the reason for that is because I think it's overused for things like DOM manipulation, for Ajax, when you could use the Fetch API, or you could use Axios or something. But something like this is exactly what I think jQuery should be used for, as little widgets, little animations, things like that. Okay, so the counter, it's gonna be a couple lines of code. We're gonna use the animate property, or the animate method. So let's go down to our JavaScript, and let's say counter. Okay, and I'm not going to go crazy with the explanation because this is not a jQuery course, and it's just a little snippet of code. I would suggest taking the snippet and putting it somewhere in case you want to use it in another project. Okay, so we're going to take the class of count, because remember, all of the H3s with these numbers have a class of count, and we're going to loop through them with an each loop. Okay, and each takes in a callback function. And then what we're going to do is take this, meaning whatever the current count we're on, and then we're going to call prop, and we want the counter property, and that's going to have a 0 default, and then we're going to call dot animate. Okay, and this is what makes the magic happen. So this animate, we're going to pass in an object, and we're going to pass in counter colon, and then this dot text. Okay, this dot text is going to get whatever the text, whatever the number is, okay, whatever is in that text. And then it's going to take in a second parameter. So after this curly brace, we're going to put a comma, and then another set of brackets or curly braces, and this is the options. So we have duration as an option, which I'm going to set to 1 second, which is 1,000 milliseconds. We can also do easing, which is like the effect, and that's going to be swing. And you can look more in the jQuery documentation if you want for other options. And then we're going to do step, which is going to be a function, and that takes in a parameter of now. And then we're going to take the text, so this dot text, and then we're going to round up. So we're going to use the math object and then seal, which rounds up, and then pass in now. Okay, and that's it. That should actually do it. So let's save, and there we go. So now within 1 second, it just counts upwards. It starts at 0 and counts upwards. And if you wanted it to take, let's say, 3 seconds, we could change that, and now it'll take 3 seconds to count up. Okay, but that's way too long. I think 1 second is good. All right, now I think that we should also implement the preloader functionality as well. Now, the way that this works is we're going to initially hide every section, okay, on the dashboard. Every area is going to have a class of section, right? So what I'm going to do is go to the very top of the script tag right here before we even do the document.ready, and I'm going to set all the section classes to hide. And there's a lot of different ways you could implement this, but this is just the one I chose. Let's say hide sections. Okay, so if I save that, everything's going to go away. I mean, right now we only have one section, but it goes away. And then what we're going to do is wrap everything, including the document.ready, in a set timeout function. Okay, so if we say set timeout, and that takes in two things. One is a function of what's going to happen, and then the next is the amount of time we want to wait for this to happen. So I'm going to say 1 second or 1,000 milliseconds. All right, and then we're going to take everything here, so this, all of this, and cut it, and we're going to put it in the set timeout. All right, and then inside the set timeout, we want to then fade in the sections. Okay, so we're going to go right in the document.ready. We do want to do it when the document's ready, and we're going to say show sections. Okay, so we can do that by simply saying dot section, and we could do show, but I'm actually going to do fade in. I think it's a better effect, so we're going to do that. So if we save, it's going to wait a second, and then it's going to fade in. Okay, and then the count starts. The count isn't going to start until it's actually until you can see it. Okay, now that's great, but we don't have our preloader yet, so let's do that. So to add it, we're going to go up into our markup down at the very bottom here, and we'll say preloader. Okay, so let's see. Let's actually grab it from materialize. Let's see, where is it? Preloader. So I'm going to grab, I want it to be the big one. I'm just going to get this right here. Alright, so preloader, big, active, spinner blue only. This is fine, so I'm going to use this. Now if I save it and we take a look, the preloader is going to be, it's relative, right? But we want to position it absolute. So what we'll have to do is edit our CSS. So remember, we have the main.css file for custom stuff. And I'm also going to give it a class of loader, like that, so that we can grab onto that. So we'll say dot loader, and then we're going to set it to position absolute, and I'm going to set it from the top 40% and from the left 47%, and we'll save it, and now you can see it's in the middle. Okay, so if I reload, it waits a second and then loads, but the preloader is still there. So what we need to do is, when everything comes in, when the section comes in, we then want to hide the preloader. Alright, so what we'll do is, let's say hide preloader. So remember, it has a class of loader, so we'll grab onto that and we'll say fade out. Alright, so let's save it. Preloader's there, sections come in, and the preloader fades out. Okay, so it's as easy as that. And like I said, there's a million ways to do stuff like this. This is just one of them. If you have a different way, that's fine. I just want to get it working, and and as long as it has good performance. All right, so that's going to be it for this section, or I'm sorry, this lecture, guys. In the next video, we're going to start to work on the chart area. We're going to work with Canvas.js a little bit, so I will see you in the next video.